Hello and welcome to DWTT. I'm Gary, and this is my five for the Arsenal 4, Slavia 0 win. What a game! Yeah, I'm smiling. Yeah, why shouldn't I? I think all of Arsenal is smiling right now. Everybody got surprised. I always said Arteta has surprises in his bags for us, and today, or should I say, yesterday, he did. Uh, what a game! Started out with a bang and continued on for at least at least 30 minutes, and then after that, we just the game was pretty much in our control. So we're good. Let's go ahead and go through the game a little bit. So first off, look at the lineup, and a lot of us were hoping to see the lineup from the last game, but and the more you think about it, Martinelli playing in a second game probably not necessarily going to happen. He wasn't going to start, I don't think. So I think as it, Arteta is looking out for the kids, and as much as I want to see the kids, he's doing right by them. A lot of time, most of the time, he's doing right by them, and definitely Martinelli is one that he's not going to stretch, and ask too much of him. It was good to see Middlesbrough roll back. I, for one, did not think he would. Might be a little rusty if he comes back. Didn't know how. Would he be able to give us 90 minutes? I wasn't sure about that, but I definitely thought, what, if he doesn't play, I'm okay with that. If he's not ready, personally, I thought he should just rest and be ready. Maybe come in for the second half if we needed him. Um, I was a little wrong about that, but I also still stand by that. Arteta knows his players, and as much as I give him grief sometimes, which as a fan I'm allowed to do, I am. I might be wrong, but I'm allowed to do it because I'm a fan. So, uh, you know, looking at the lineup a little bit more, that Saka, Smith Rowe, Pepe lineup was looked like it could work. Uh, Partey and Ceballos in the middle. I was hoping, see if Ceballos can give us something. And then once again, Xhaka on the back line with Chambers, Holding, and Marie, which, I think is our best pairing as far as center backs go. Chambers seems like he's taken on that right side now. Cedric, it just doesn't, it doesn't work for what Arteta wants, I guess. And Chambers has proven that he's okay out. He's proven that he's okay out there. Now, whether it's going to last, and that's my concern, is that we get Chambers. He looks good today. Come next season, we're back kind of scrambling again. So we'll see what happens with that. Uh, Once again, our bench looks strong, and it looks surprising too, right? Because Aziz has been on our bench for a while, but now we're seeing Balogun. He just signed his contract. Arteta said once all that paperwork's out of the way, he's gonna, he'll get what is needed of him, and he signed it, and he was on the bench. A lot of us, were happy with that. I'm happy with that. I don't know if he could be out on loan next season, but I think the fact that he's still an Arsenal player is a plus. Um, so the game. So let's get into the game. So the game starts, and as usual, all the players kneel down. And also, the referees kneel down, and there's a what I would consider a really powerful scene where you've got Lacazette kneeling in front of the Slavia Prague team that decided they were going to all line up at the circle, and with arms around each other or arms on everybody's shoulder, and look forward, and you got there's a picture of Lacazette staring right at them. Now, I thought that kind of power in the fight against racism would be in the first game, but not so much. But this one, it felt, and it looked a little different. So the game gets started, and I think Prague lining up the way they did also probably sent brought a different tone to the way that they chose to show their team unity and not necessarily want to go with the kneeling part. So, all right. So the game starts. It's I think it's a filling out process. We we're controlling the game as far as offensively. I believe they're not getting much from us. We're able to come down, but I don't think we're as clean as we want to be for that first 10 minutes. We do get you know, we're starting to move the ball, but we're just not clean on our passing, losing the ball. It looks like there's opportunities, but then they kind of go by the wayside when our passes go astray or get intercepted because the passes are just either a little bit too late or just a little bit too soft. So, game moves on, and then there's like a 6 minutes, I guess essentially like an 8 minute stretch where pretty much we take the game and finish them off basically in that 8 minute span basically. What else do we have in the game? If you I guess we'll get into it, but after the first like 28 minutes of the game, we had 5 shots and they had none, which was pretty telling, and makes you think it was a kind of a defensive game from us. But I feel like we kind of won over this game with our pressure from our front four, and basically our forward movement. They didn't get much from us, and we could put too much pressure on them, so they really never got a chance to attack us as much as they probably wanted to kind of get a goal, or put a lot of pressure on us so that we're not scoring, but they weren't able to do that either. So that's how the game went. What else do we have there? As far as the stats go, like I said, we dominated. We actually didn't really dominate the possession. They did, but I think that's probably mostly what happened in the second half. In the first half, we pretty much dominated. We got all the shots on goal, equal to the number of shots between the two teams. But as by the score line, it didn't really matter. We pretty much took over the game. I guess we'll get into it. Let's get into my 5. I think I don't know if there's anything more I want to talk about at this point on that. The game. I'll probably when I get into my 5, then we'll probably talk a little bit more about some extra items in the game. But as a whole, it was a really good game. We as a team looked pretty different. Looked different. There was just a different aura in the air. There was different feeling it felt. The way that we were playing, we looked a lot more confident. Whatever Arteta told them to do, it looks like they were doing that. And if he didn't, and they were just doing it on themselves, then I'd be surprised. But I feel like Arteta had a plan, and they were able to stick to it and actually execute it. And he seemed calm throughout the whole thing. One of this probably his biggest game of the season, probably biggest game of his coaching career, if you think about it. This game keeps you in a European Cup. It's not Champions League, but it's definitely a trophy he would like to get. And so he looked pretty calm, and the way the team executed, it seemed to work to the T. It was perfect. Let's get into it. Let's go into my 5, I think, and then we'll see where that takes us. All right, so here we go. All right, so there you go. So now you see my 5. As you can see, I kind of I did a +1, and there's a good reason for it, as you know, as if you've seen the game. If not, I'll tell you. But first off, go through kind of my 5 and why I kind of chose them. It's Saka. It's a big game. I wanted to see how he would perform in the big game. Always looking forward to seeing how he does. He's been improving. The more games he gets, and the better he's been playing. Pepe, it's once again a big game. Hoping to see how he can perform, see if he can solidify that spot on the field. You never know what you're going to get from him, like Arsenal sometimes, but I feel like the more he's been playing, the more consistent he is with what he's doing out there on the field and the opportunities that he presents it in terms of scoring. So, let's see how we'll see how he does. Milsif Rowe, like I said at the beginning, I initially was thinking, maybe we should rest him. Good thing I'm not the manager. But my reason for resting him was more for health reasons, not if he could go, then I want him to play, of course. But if he was going to be a little rusty, then I think he should have sat. Obviously he was not. I mean, we'll get into it. He didn't play the full 90, but he was what he did give us was pretty good. Next up was Ceballos. Now with Ceballos in there and Jacques also playing, that meant that most likely Jacques was going to play further back on the defensive side. It's been Ceballos and Partey were going to kind of be in the middle, roaming there. And, Ceballos has had his ups and downs, and I always thought that, the more he plays with Partey, hopefully the better he is. We'll get into how he played, but, I was just kind of concerned and wanted to see how that was going to work out. Next up is Holding. As you've heard from many of my videos, Holding always seems to be at the front row of any disaster that happens on the Arsenal side. With Marie, I think he plays a lot more. He plays better when he's with Marie. So I was hoping to see that that comfort level that he gets from playing with Marie. And Chambers off to his right, who's actually been playing really well. Expected to see hopefully a good game for them defensively. And my +1, Lacazette up top. Going into the game, Aubameyang was initially he was diagnosed with the flu. Well, at least that was that's what the first thing that the team noticed. The team doctor thought. Later on that day, or later on, right before the game, it turns out that he's got malaria. It seems he must have picked that up from his travels, and based on the incubation time, it takes a couple of weeks before it actually comes out, and you realize what's going on. So he was in the hospital, it seems, and I guess now he's back at home, but got malaria, so that he could be back into the team in a couple of weeks, or he could be out for an extended amount of time. So it's been a really tough year for him. Nothing, his playing hasn't been good. Some family issues he's been dealing with. He's actually got in trouble a couple of times with the team, and it's just been really tough for him. I expected some of his form to drop more because I was hoping for the rest of the team to kind of pick things up, and essentially when they did, that just meant less for him. I felt like he kind of dropped a lot more than I thought he would. Nothing to do with the form out there, but he did, just didn't work out for him. And then the style of play that I think we're playing just does not suit him right now. Is he going to change? Maybe he's not feeling so good. Maybe when he's healthy, if he's been kind of fighting something we just didn't know all season mentally and now physically, maybe he'll be able to fit into what Arteta wants. I mean, they put a lot of money into him, so I find it hard to believe they're going to be able to let him go at the end of the season. So we're going to have to try to make it work with him. And he does have a skill set that you want, right? You want somebody who can score. So have to figure out how to get the best out of him and not lose the structure and the functionality that Arteta wants to get out of his team. So we'll see how that goes in the next couple of weeks. All right, so let's get into it. Let's start first with Saka. All right, now, as I said, I kind of, Saka's pretty much, I believe, our best player. He's played, he's been the most available, and he has definitely performed and improved from the previous year. Uh, Once again, his footwork is really. I enjoy watching him with the ball at his feet. Um, just really good performance from him today. Or should I say yesterday? And one of the things that I think, at least for me, I've been hoping for is that he improves his shooting, because he's putting himself in situations where he's going to score, but he just hasn't been able to, pull the trigger and put the ball hit the back of the net. And boy, did he come out, shooting today. Uh, his, you know, his first shot came off. I can't remember who passed it up to him. I think it was Milsufro passed him the ball, and then came up the middle, and Saka went down the right hand side, took a shot up to the far corner, hit the post, hit the post. Ball comes back, and Milsufro is right there to clean it up and put it away. You see it when he hits it, and he kind of starts to run to the corner. He looks over at the referee with the flag. The flag doesn't go up. He thinks he's got it. He runs to the corner, does his celebration. Everything looks good, and then as the case may be, Vars, kind of sticks his head into the situation. And at that point, you're just wondering, okay, are we going to see the lines drawn and see what's going on? Nothing. Just the referee standing there talking to the people up in the booth. No replays. I mean, I don't understand why they didn't want to show us what had happened. If you were able to rewind, or eventually when you see it, it looks really tight, really, really close. As he's running, towards the goal, he's right on the edge of getting offsides. Essentially, it comes back and he is offside. The ruler says he's off by a fraction of an inch. Not much, I think, to be considered an advantage. But it gets called back, and you're thinking, damn, that's the goal that we want. We want that early goal. What's going to happen next? And we'll see. We'll see what happens next. We know what there's a score later. The score's 1-0 at this point. Saka another comes down another time, and what happens? Yeah, so Saka gets the ball from from a cross, right? It comes back to him. He tries to get his foot on the ball. Defender takes him out, which is kind of going to happen because he's so fast. The only thing you can do really is knock him down. So they knock him down. Penalty in the box. It's Lacazette. What else is there? So I'm looking at my notes here, and you wouldn't believe it's like I don't have the the Saka score next to his notes, which is surprising because I know what happens. So so first he draws a penalty. Lacazette gets it, and then later on an attack, Partey starts it off, gets the ball out, and there was a little controversy, not really controversy, a little discussion on the pod that I did, whether it was Ceballos or Chambers, but I think it's definitely Chambers who's able to get to the ball that Partey passes. It gets a foot on it, and is able to get around the defender, and then passes it forward to Saka, who comes down, and it's just him and the goalie at that point. And before the goalie knows what's going on, Saka's already put the ball past him in the near post. Score. And the near post will come up in a couple in my next in my discussion as we go through this. So but sweet shot. I mean, if you look at it, the goalkeeper is just standing, cement blocks on his feet. He can't move as the ball just goes by. Voila, score. And that, and that at that point, that's pretty much the game. We're up 4-1 on aggregate at that point. They got to score 4 goals just to beat us at that point. Not gonna happen, right? You hope so, anyways. So, but it puts you at ease that we once we did lose, get that goal taken away from us, that we were able to come back and basically put a lot of pressure on them and get the goal. So that Saka eventually gets taken out later on, but the damage had been done by that point. Really good game from him. I think as a whole the front four was really good, and we'll kind of go into all of that towards the end here. But next up, I'm going to get into is Pepe. Like I said, one of the things that I wanted to see from him is to see him to continue to do what he does, which is one, try to attack, and two, do all the extra work that's required. And one thing that I did notice, I did watch some of the replay, watch the game again, is that he continually puts pressure on the back line. I mean with when they have the ball, and I like to see that because I think Arteta wants his team to do, work, and not just their role, but all the extra work that's required. And from that front line, it's pressing the back line of the opponent. He was doing that, and it was good to see. I mean, there was kind of a lot of combo play between Pepe. You would see them switch around. At one point, I think he was on the right-hand side, and Saka was on the left. So there's a lot of freedom, I would say, with the players. They can interchange, and they do pretty well doing that. So let's get into how Pepe starts it off. So, we'll get into it a little bit later, but Emil Rowe is able to make a pass to him on the left-hand side. He's able to control the ball, keep the defender off of him, and get a little space. The goalie's there, and before the goalie knows, near post, score. It was sweet. That's how we opened up our bank accounts in terms of scoring, and it was sweet. I mean, Pepe, you barely see a smile from him, but he's happy. He does his slide. It's hard to get it. Hard to see the ups and downs with him sometimes, but I believe he's having fun out there. Good to see. Like I said, the work that he's doing out there is really good, and I think it's what Arteta wants. What else did he see? He puts himself in situations where the team is going to make passes to him, which is good. It means he's always working, looking for opportunities, which I think that's part of, that keeps him engaged. He knows that they're out there looking for him, and he did pretty well. Like I said, I enjoyed the game from the front four. The fact that they're just constantly moving is what I like. It's not as stagnant with them, so there's always somebody moving around, somebody attacking. So it looked really good. When Saka gets it fouled in the box, you can see what the ball ends up with Pepe, and you can see him kind of he's about to score, and then he hears the whistle, puts his foot on the ball, and then he goes back to the referee thinking, what, would you have let me got that shot off? And I think the referee at that point had to make a decision. Did he want to hold off and play an advantage, or did he want to give the penalty? Which, of course, we're happy to get the penalty because we know that's at least closest to guaranteed goal that we're going to get. Pepe could have shanked it, the defender could have jumped in front of it, anything. So, but if nothing was called, I would have liked to think that he would have put that ball definitely in between the frame, and we would have got a score. He would have got a second goal of the game. Like I said, really good from Pepe. Enjoyed what I saw. We'll see. The one thing I think now we're gonna have a dilemma now is, what is Arteta gonna do? Is Pepe, is he always gonna be out there on the left? We'll see. With Erdiger, Gore coming hopefully back healthy at some point. What's going to happen? That's usually been Milsroof Rowe, Erdiger, and Saka in that three. So good problems to have for Arteta. And players are playing like they want to be out there, which is good. Which means there's going to be a lot of good competition. Hopefully, the best, the one player in form gets it. So we'll see. But once again, Pepe was great. I'll take that. Next up is Milsroof Rowe. As I said, coming into the game, I was hoping to see if he. I was hoping that he would, if he was going to play, that he was not going to be rusty, because that's kind of and I think rusty more from the fact that he hadn't been playing, and maybe his form would be off a little bit, but I don't think I saw that at all, which is good to see, which is good to know that the young players, when they are out of the game, can come back in and be ready to go and not feel like they need to work their ways back. I mean, it seemed like in the previous game he did look a little rusty, and when he first came back from the international break, it looked like he was a little rusty. He did have to sit out, for the injuries and stuff like that, but he looked really good in this game. I mean, he only gave us. I mean, I felt like he gave us about 50 or 60 minutes. I mean, you could see he was pretty much, he slipped a couple of times in the game. I don't know if that's just his boots or what, but he was able to make other plays. So I have a feeling it was, maybe his legs felt a little heavy, and that's what was going on there. So, like I said, he gets the ball hits off the post. He's able to be there to clean it up, but he's offsides by just a fraction of an inch. And then next comes the play. So he gets the ball in the box. I think at one point, if you see, there's probably 2 to 4 defenders kind of all around him. He's able to nutmeg one of them. Another one shows another defender's there. He nutmegs him as he passes to Pepe, and Pepe just finishes it off. Splendid. Voila. Whatever you want to call it. It was great. It was great. You watch the replay and you're like, because when it happened, I didn't really notice the nutmeg, because I was kind of like seeing the ball, just him get away from one defender and then get the ball past another one. And at the time, I'm looking at it on a little screen, of course, so I don't see that much. So I don't see the nutmeg as clearly as I did when I watched the replay. Nice poise right there. In the middle of, there's a lot of defenders all, pretty much in front of him. He's able to, control the ball, get it past one defender, and then past another one. As he passes, gets the ball out to Pepe, and Pepe finishes it off. Great. The Milsroof Rowe, like I said, with Pepe, they interchange, so you can see, if you watch them, you'll notice that they're probably all around the field. They kind of, they are, if they're, depending on what position they started out, they might be there for most of the game, but at any point they could switch it out and change things around, so the defense doesn't know what to do. And he did that. I think he was part of, like, what I would say the front four in terms of the pressure that they put on the other team when we got the ball. I don't think one person, really stood out that much than the others, but all together it was a fine-tuned machine, basically. Good to see. So once again, another good game from Milsroof Rowe, and the fact that when Milsroof Rowe and Saka are playing, we do good things happen for us. We get wins. We're pretty strong when they're out there. When they're healthy, even all the more the better. I think at one point, Saka does try to make a pass to Milsroof Rowe, which looked like it was gonna, it might have worked and put Milsroof Rowe on a had him set up to score, but the pass was just a little too long. And then I think the last play before he comes out, the ball comes in and you think he's going to be able to get to it, but then once again he slips. So like I said, it looked like at that point, like I said, after the second half, he looked like he had heavy legs. It was just fine. I think at this point in his career and where we stand, I think he and Saka, I don't think I'm expecting them to play 38, 30, 4 games of the season, depending on how, the Premier League season. So, but I'm, expecting that to grow as they get older, and next season they'll do a lot more. Like I said, I think he's a season behind Saka in terms of where you want him to be in the Premier League, and that's fine. I don't. We just, like I said at the beginning of the season, I think our depth is more the issue, and that's why the youth stand out so much, is because the depth around them just isn't as good as we would like it to be. So he comes off. So the next up we're going to get into is Ceballos. Like I said, I was a little, not necessarily concerned, but I wanted to see how he was going to play. I think playing with Partey makes things all the better, and we'll see how it was going to go. I mean, in general, I think Ceballos looked okay. Looked okay. I mean, he didn't make any passes like he did in the last game that he was in, when he made that pass to Lackad, like I said, I think it was. But I mean, I think he's solid there, and I think what happens is it gives Partey a little bit more control of that middle when Ceballos is there as well. And when he's there with Xhaka, I think Xhaka definitely commands a lot more of the game. And you notice that. I was listening to a stat today, and Xhaka still had the most passes, even though he was sitting on the back line. So whatever's going on with the team, the ball pretty much, goes to Xhaka, and, he makes a lot of the passes there. Now it's from the back line, and I feel like it's been pretty good. This is probably a temporary thing. It might work once in a while, but go up against some really strong wings, and it might be a different story. So we'll see. But I think for temporary solution, I think it works really well. And the key is, we're putting pressure on them from the front. Our back line probably won't be rested, one, and two, be able to do, not have as much pressure on them. But yeah, like I said, I get back to Ceballos. Does he work better than Xhaka? I don't. Well, I think he's more likely to get assists. I feel like he's more likely to get some assists the more he plays, even though, Xhaka is making some forward passes and whatnot. But I feel like he's more offensive that way. Xhaka will make a good pass, but not necessarily ones that lead, that are going to turn into assists, because he's never going to be that high up on the field. He's not making those long passes. That's Partey's job. It seems. He's going to have to work on his passing, when he continues to play. But in general, it was solid. Can we do better there? Yes. I think he had some good looks. The passes just did not come through, and maybe that's something he'll get better at it the longer he's out there, because he might have been a little bit slow on some of his passes, a little bit weak on them, and I think that will get better with time. But maybe his time might be up. It might be might be over for him in terms of playing for Arsenal. So we'll see. Next up is Holding. Like I said, I think I was concerned just because I always feel like I said, he's there at the scene of the crime when something bad happens to us. But in general, he actually had a really good game. He made multiple clearances in terms of the ball coming in and clearing it out. He had his moment, right? I think he was trying to make a shot. The defender was able to get in there and kind of get a foot on the ball before he could. He tumbles over. He's able to kind of get up, chase down the guy, and bring him down. They have a little bit of a tussle. Guy comes up, and then you can see him kind of smiling. I mean, Holding does that every so often in every game, so he's good for that. Tough-minded player. But in general, I think he had a really good game. I don't think Slavia really put too much pressure on us. But what Nate did, we were there most times to clean it up and get us out of danger, and he was part of that as well. All right. So next up, we'll get into my +1. And as I said, my +1 was Lacazette. With the Aubameyang being on the sidelines and Lacazette actually playing pretty well in the first game, the previous game we had. But let's see how he was going to do in this one. The thing that he does well, and for us in the style that we play, is you'll notice a lot that he is, kind of behind the wings at some points during the game. Sometimes, and that's, for me, that's pretty bad when it's in the middle of the field. But he was actually in that position a lot when the wings were kind of coming into the box, so it wasn't as big of an issue. There's not much space, so he was there around the box for most of the game. Not in as many scoring positions as we would like, but I think the wings were, coming off the edges. I think we did pretty well, and the Emil Rowe was in the middle. I think he creates a lot of traffic there because they have to mark him. That gives our wings and our number 9 or number 10 actually some space. So Emil Rowe had an ability to see what was in front of him, and so that was good. So I think Lacazette as a whole does his job pretty well. Doesn't create as many scoring opportunities as you would like sometimes, but in a game like we had this last game, he did the right amount of whatever he needed to do. Came up smoothly and took that penalty kick. Had the goalkeeper going the wrong direction. Score. Later on in the game, Later on in the game, we're up 3-0. We're in pretty much control. I think Xhaka gets the ball to Pepe down on the left-hand side, and this is where, Xhaka probably, in a midfielder, may not be able to make that pass out to Pepe because there's a lot of mess around him, but he's out on the wing a little bit, so he's able to make that pass to Pepe down the left, who takes the ball and then crosses it in to Laga, who drags it back and then, gets a little ball under control and then whacks it home with his left foot, near post. Story of the game, this goalkeeper just was not up to par in terms of, being able to manage his near post. We scored 3 goals basically from the near post. Nice. And I think the reason why that's pretty good also is that means that we're not letting the goalkeeper think before he knows that the ball's gone, and it's not necessarily on the far side of the goal. It's right there next to him. By the time he thinks about it, the ball's past him and in the post, and in the goal it goes. Like I said, does his job. I enjoy it. Anything else I want to say? No, like I said, as a whole, all 11 players played really well. Front 4, I think, were the stars of the game. Partey and Ceballos were able to control the game in a sense that they kept the ball away from the back line as far as pressure. I mean, Leno didn't even have a save, so you got to take that as a positive, right? 2 clean sheets in a row after giving up a goal in the previous 14. As a defense, we're doing good. I think it doesn't necessarily matter who we're playing, because we've played some games where we probably shouldn't have given up any goals, and we did. So the fact that we're not giving them up is pretty good. It means at least whatever plan we have is working. I enjoyed the game, and it was one of those games where in the second half there wasn't really much to talk about, because you're just like, can the clock go faster? Because I don't think if they put pressure on us, we may have been able to get a goal out. I mean, Martinelli does come in. He does get an opportunity to score, and his shooting boots aren't in yet. Hopefully they come soon. We get to see him this season. But he had a nice took the ball straight down on the left hand side, and you think he's going to score, or at least put the ball on frame, and he just dismisses it. That's at some point he'll be working on it, and that thing will go in, and it'll look just like Saka's when he came down the field. So Martinelli is almost, it may not be until next season, but he's definitely promising in the sense that when he comes on, the energy, in the game goes up. Kind of would like to have seen him come in a little bit earlier when the game kind of started to get a little stale, but it's okay. It's okay, but I do still want it. So I'm kind of in two camps there. I understand he needs to rest, but I also want to see him play. Um, so all in all, really good game. We move on. Next up, Villarreal. We're playing Emery. They're a good team. I think we have our front four. I think is really good. If they continue to get better, I think we should have a good chance to move on there. I think it's going to be a lot tougher. Our defense is going to have to be a lot more stout. We've got to find that 11. I don't, as people have said, I don't know who our strong 11 is, and I think probably won't find that out this season, because especially when the games are coming and we're playing on Thursdays and on the weekends. So I think he's going to continue to change. But we'll see. Maybe if we see the same 11, if Martin or Erdiger, when he comes in, if he's ready to go, that's going to switch things around for us as well. Personally, maybe we move, Milsrud Rowe back, have him play next to Partey. That would be good to see. Because I don't think we're going to lose much by putting him there, because of the way that we're playing now. So let's see how it goes. Anything else that I want to talk about? Nothing else. We got a Fulham game this weekend, so some players will probably get rested because we have essentially it's Fulham and then Everton. It's a Sunday morning for me, and then a Friday afternoon game against Everton. So 2 games coming thick and fast for us. 2 games I would like us to win. The Fulham game we should win. Everton game could be tight. It was a 2-2 game against the Spurs. Then they had opportunities to score, a couple of opportunities at the end of that game. So that game could be pretty. If our defense is not up to snuff, it could be a high scoring game, or it could be a blowout. If we don't do what we need to do. So once again, I'll finish with that. Thanks for coming. Leave any comments, subscribe, like the video. I will talk to you soon after the next game. Come on, you Gooners. And I'd like to leave you with the following. Life is a journey. Don't waste the trip. Enjoy the ride. All right, thanks. See ya.